Hello guys, welcome back to SWS Boxing. Delighted to get Josh Nutley on again. And yeah, we're doing a prediction video, the full card prediction video of the Nathan Heaney Brad Paul's rematch card. And yes, as always, Josh, pleasure getting you on as always.
Thank you, Sam. Nice to see you again. I was only with you on, what was it, Sunday?
Yeah, I think it was Sunday or Saturday, I can't remember. But yeah. But yes, yeah, so it's a good card. It's the Magnificent Seven show, which is in Birmingham. It's at the Resorts World Arena in Birmingham, this Saturday. It's a good card. Um, yeah, first fight on the card is a super flyweight fight between Bradley Thompson, who's 4-0, v Stephen Jackson, who's 1 win, 51, and one a very tough, durable journeyman. And of course, he's been out for quite a while. He normally fights at flyweight, floats in between the super flyweight. So yeah, it's a similar weight. Yeah, it's sort of your weight he fights. Yeah, it is your weight he fights at. He's currently, he's got that. He's 4-0 with 2 KOs. Stopped Stephen Maguire, Torres. He fought Torres, Jack Dyer, and another. And his last outing was in 2022. In 2022 April, where he stopped Luke Merrifield. So yeah, he's had a bit of
It's a 2 year layoff, isn't it?
yeah, I'm not sure why, but yeah, he's had a 2 year layoff, and I was quite impressed with him in his first 4 fights. I think he's fought on a one TNT. Well, when it was BT Sport, he fought on that, but now it's TNT. But yeah, I've been quite impressed with his fights that I've seen of him, and he's a
Didn't
top prospect. So I'm not
didn't
sure.
he knock Steve Maguire out like quite cold?
Yeah, I think he stopped Steve Maguire. He dropped him heavy in the first round, then brutally stopped him in the fourth. I mean, and we both know that Steve Maguire's no mug. He's one of the uh best journeymen at superfly to bantamweight sort of fly. He sticks around that sort of area, doesn't he, Maguire? So it was quite impressive when he stopped him, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Stephen Maguire from the unlicensed scene. I boxed him twice on the unlicensed circuit.
How did you get on with him?
I beat him both times. The first time I boxed him, I stopped him in the first round with a body shot. He's a southpaw, isn't he? And I
Yeah.
dropped down with a left hook to the body and stopped him. And then the second fight was about a year later, and I went the distance with him. But I landed some very clean shots, and you know, um, southpaws can be very tricky, but they can also be quite easy at times. Well, I say easy. There's no such thing as easy in boxing, but once you, if you can, there's I mean, some of them are very tricky, but some of them can be quite basic. And when you can find that right hand down the middle quite easily with some of them, you know.
Yeah. And of course, he's boxing Stephen Jackson, who I think I recommend, said that he's a sort of journeyman in your weight when we done that interview the other day. I think I did.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. Yeah,
yeah, I did. Yeah, he's been around the. I mean, he's boxed, Ash Lane, Andrew Kane. He's been around for quite a long time. Is Jackson? He's very durable. But again, Brad's got the capability of stopping some durable journeymen. But I just think, it's 4 rounds, and I think I can see Steven Jackson getting through the fight as he normally does. But I can just see Bradley Thompson, sorry, getting a points win. As he's been off for some time, he might, take a while to get going in the opening
bit of
round. But
that.
I think he should win, 40-36. But I think, Jackson is as durable as they come.
Yeah, no, it'd be a good fight, especially after a 2 year layoff. It'd be good to see how he comes back from that. You know, like you say, he's probably gonna have a bit of ring rust. Might be a slow start, but as you say, mate, I mean stoppages at Superfly, then they don't come around often anyway, especially with journeymen. You know, so I mean, he's obviously carrying a lot of power there.
Yeah, so are you saying Thompson on points for this one, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think I agree. I think I'm going to go with you on that. I think Thompson's going to win on points. Um, after like you say, after a 2 year layoff, he's probably gonna want to do the rounds. After having that time off, he's probably going to want to do the rounds just to get the feel of the atmosphere and all that again. Being back under the lights. He's probably going to want to just cruise his way through the rounds and just have fun, man. He's probably like 2 year layoff is a long time, so. Yeah, I think he'll get the job done, but I don't think there'll be a stoppage.
Are you looking forward to seeing that? Because, either one of them could be potential opponents down the line.
Yeah, I am. I am looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to the whole card to be honest. But I mean that fight specifically, yes, definitely, mate, definitely. It's definitely an interesting fight for me to watch.
Yeah, 100% I agree. Yeah, and then you've got the 8 rounds in the featherweight division between, Shabazz Massoud's gone. He's took this fight at feather due to Liam Davis. I think Liam Davis is injured. As that was meant to be boxing for the IBO, and hopefully that gets rescheduled because that was a fight that I'm sure everyone was looking forward to. Personally, I was looking forward to that fight as well. Yeah, Shabazz, perfect start with 12-0 with four KOs. I would say, his biggest wins are against Jack Bateson and Jose San Martin in his last 2 fights. And I writ him off against Bateson because, I think Bateson's a good fighter, but Shabazz totally, blew that prediction out of the water, really. And I've been impressed with him. I think he trains with Ben Davison, AJ's in that gym, Lee Woods, Royston Barney Smith. They've got some Royston and Shabazz are good upcoming stars in that gym.
Campbell Hatton's just joined with Ben Davidson now as well, isn't he?
Oh yes, I forgot about that one because I don't even think he's had a fight with Ben yet. I think it's his first one in August 24th with Ben, I believe.
Yeah, that's it. That's correct. I really like Ben Davidson. I think he's one of the best boxing coaches that the UK have to offer, if not potentially Europe have to offer. I think he's a fantastic coach, and I mean just what he done with Tyson Fury, a few years back, when he brought him back from where he was to train him up
Yeah.
for the first Wilder fight. I just and I've just admired. That was where I first got my the knowing of Ben Davidson
He
for
used
me,
to
and
train Josh Taylor as well, didn't he?
I think you're right there. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean he's trained quite a few of them, hasn't he? And he's got a good little stable. And Alois Junior is another one who's looking good as well. He's doing quite well.
He
Um,
did train Josh Taylor. He trained Josh Taylor for the first cattle fight, didn't
oh yeah, and then that's when he Josh switched up to Joe McAnally, I think it was.
he? Yeah.
But yeah, I do expect, his opponent's Marvin Solano, so at least he's got, a positive record opponent because it would have been a bit not great, if he fought a journeyman. No disrespect for the journeyman, but when you're preparing for a world title fight and then go and fight a journeyman when you're, you were training for a world title fight, it sort of is a bit of a no offense, but it is a little bit of a kick in the teeth. And
Yeah.
it is still a bit of a kick in the teeth for him, but he's got a, at least he's fighting. So it's not like a complete, camp that's gone to waste, you keep him busy. And yeah, it could be worse, you can I mean, at least he's fighting, and that's the main thing, Marvin Solano, he's 24 wins, 17 defeats with only 4 stoppages. He's fought Luke Pearson, Tom Welland, Frankie Story, Joshua John, just a few. He's recently taken fights in the UK. He's quite durable. He hasn't been stopped by either one of those. I'll need
Was
to
this,
double
was,
check.
was Tom Welland his last fight?
Yeah, I think he fought in
Yeah,
Tom's last fight.
on Channel 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. Yeah, I watched that. Yeah, he ain't a big tricky, isn't he? He's very awkward.
Yeah, and Tom's another one who's a good up and coming fighter, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
brilliant.
think Marvin is durable and he's awkward and he'll he'll try and make it as awkward as possible for Shabazz. But if I'm completely honest, if you're about to if you're about to compete for a world title, you should be getting these sort of opponents out of there. No disrespect to Marvin, but
Yeah,
you would expect Shabazz to get it out, or maybe, as Shabazz, he can bang, even though he only has those 4 knockouts, he can hit and he does time and place his shots quite nicely. It's just whether, he wants to. It's a sort of fight where he can do what he that's a bit what's the word? But yeah, I just think I I don't think he'll try and get him out of there early. I mean, he could if he really wanted to, but I think he'll try and get a few rounds in and then maybe take him out of maybe it's an 8 rounder, possibly maybe round 5 or 6.
yeah, but unless he wants to make a statement and just get him out of there, just to show that that he does belong to be up there, you know. Yeah, I'll be honest, mate. I've not really followed him too much, so I can't really have too much of a say on him, to be honest.
But are you saying a Masood win, would you say?
Uh, no, no, yeah. I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Um, I forgot what one I was about to speak about. Yeah, we'll talk about the English heavyweight title fight. I mean, it was meant to be Solomon Dakers v David Adelaide, but I believe Adelaide got injured. There's been a lot of pullouts, unfortunately, but there's still a good solid. I think there's 5 title fights, but yeah, it's still a great card, and I believe this is it's a great fight. It's a rematch between Solomon Dakers 8-0, Michael Webster, who's 10-1 from Middlesbrough. It makes for a great rematch. It was a bit nip and tuck in the first fight. Of course, Dakers did win by majority decision, but there was like 2 rounds in it with a point as well. Oh no, yeah, 2 rounds in it, then 3, and then one had a draw. So it was close, and I know Webster thought he was hard done by. Webster's coming in on short notices again this time, so it's gonna be tough for him. Um, yeah, what do you make of this fight? Of course, the English title's on the line.
you know what, I think it's hard. It's hard to say when fighters are coming in on short notice because they're not, in my opinion, not fully prepared for it. You know, if they're coming in on short notice. But then you say that, didn't Andy Ruiz come in at short notice when he beat Anthony Joshua that time?
Yeah, because
You know,
AJ was meant to box Miller, but Miller um tested positive for I
yes,
can't remember what it was.
and we're talking about a heavyweight division here, you know, so you can never really put your money on anyone in the heavyweight division because it just takes one punch to change it all, doesn't it? You know, I mean, when Andy Ruiz beat Anthony Joshua, no one see that coming. You know that Webster lost the first time round. Did he lose the first time round or was it a draw?
Oh yeah, he lost on majority decision.
Yeah. See, if he's gonna, and you said he felt he was hard done by. I haven't seen the first fight, but I'm just going off of the information that you've given me. If he felt like he was hard done by on the first one, and he's been given a second chance, maybe he's gonna put his foot on the gas a little bit more this time round and try and level the score, level the score, you know, and make it 1-1.
Possibly it could, but yeah, I think he'll try and push it on Dakers as possible. Dakers, I would say, sort of a long sort of range sort of fighter. Um, he's not one of the heavyweights who just club bombs. He's more technical and sort of tries to pick and time his shots. Well, and sometimes, if he holds, he's good at smothering his opponent's work. That's what he done well in the last fight. I thought he done quite well smothering Webster's work, and I think it makes for an interesting rematch. Of course, short notice. Of course, obviously he would prefer if it was a full camp notice, and of course, especially when it's a rematch, you know, you want a full camp. So I'm sure you understand what I mean. You would normally want a full camp, especially when it's a big rematch for you, and it's for the English as well, which means quite a lot to these fighters, as you would know. But I think it makes for a close fight. I think they're both durable. Has Dacre's chin been fully clipped? Webster did land a few bombs, but I thought, um, you know, I don't think he landed clean on him. So, and Webster's coming off a decent win. I think it was on a local show. But yeah, I think it makes for a decent rematch. But I'm saying it'll be a bit nip and tuck here. I think both men will have success in different areas, but I can just see. I think it might be again a bit close on the card, but I think they'll give it to Dakers. Whether that's UD split majority, I'm not sure, but I think Dakers will just do enough to nick it on the scorecards.
Who we got? Who's next, Sam?
Wait, did you say Dakers or did you say Webster? Didn't you say Webster?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I haven't made it. I didn't. I can't put a name on that because I don't really know either fighter that well, you know. And
Well,
I was just
hopefully the
going
winner
from the.
fights Adelaide.
Oh right, okay. Um, I mean, I can't. I don't think Webster will win. I don't think Webster's going to win from the information that you've given me, purely on the fact he took the fight at late notice, you know. And I just think a fight like that you need a full camp for, especially with someone you've boxed with before, you know, and you can work on things and things that didn't work last time round, you can adjust, you know. And I just don't think he's been given the time in order to do that. So just going from the information that you said, mate, I don't think Webster's going to come out with a decision here.
Mm. Yeah, and we'll get on to decisions in a minute when we speak about sort of Brad's fight and how difficult it will be for him to get points. But we'll get to that in a few minutes' time. Yeah. By the way, this isn't the actual order of the night. It's just the order they've written it down on BoxRec.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So Zach Parker's returning again. That's it's a short notice fight for him. I think he filled in. Now I'll say it and then I just immediately forget. Well, he's filled in for somebody. And yeah, he's boxing Jack Arnfield, who's 26-3. Of course, that Parker's 24-1. His one defeat coming to John Ryder, as we know, that was back in 2022 November. And yeah, it was a bit of a bad night for Zach. He broke his I think he broke his uh hand. Yeah, hand. He broke his hand in that fight, but I think it's rude saying he's overrated, but you know when I think he's sort of his career's gone a bit sort of, you know, he was calling the likes of, you know, Canelo out a few years ago, and it's like, and to see what he's been doing, you know, he boxed Marcus Morrison. I think that's when, after a Marcus Morrison win, who is a good English British sort of Commonwealth sort of good decent level, and then, you know, sort of calling out a sort of a Canelo and trying to aim for a world title. I know he had some, I think he had some international belt, which ranked him in the, I think he was in the top 10 of, hang on, he was in the top 10 of the WBO for quite a while. And then he fought, I think he fought John Ryder in he fought John Ryder in a WBO interim world super middleweight title, and that's why John Ryder went on to fight Canelo, because he beat Parker. So he was one step away from fighting Canelo, and then, you know, he fought a journeyman, and in his last outing he fought on the Brad Paul's Heaney cards, the first fight, and he actually did get dropped as well. He won, but he got dropped in the second round as well by some German guy called Tyrone Zeggy. I thought that was a real close fight. I mean, I don't know what the scorecards 98, 90, 91 was saying, 97, 92, 96, 94. Yeah, Zach won that fight, but honestly, you can't be. I just think his career's just sort of slowed a bit, as he's a step away from the world
He's,
title when he's sort of gone a bit.
yeah, I mean, he was never going to be in Canelo's league, was he? Let's be honest, mate. I mean, he didn't beat John Ryder, and I thought Ryder done really well against Canelo. I know we're going off the mark a
He's
little bit
he's a
here, but I thought,
warrior rider.
yeah, mate, yeah, and
I
yeah,
think yeah, again going off topic, but I thought, as Ryder, he had an underrated career. He fought anyone and everyone, didn't he?
yeah, mate, and he was tough as old boots. He's I mean, the way he got through that fight with Canelo was just unbelievable, mate. His nose was broken like very early
Yeah,
on, wasn't
yeah.
it?
I think it was
And
first 3 rounds because he got dropped early on, didn't he?
yeah, but I mean, when you talk about Canelo, he's a fighter that we're gonna miss when he's finished.
Yeah, we will do. He's one of the best our current era, sort of thing.
And the way he bounced up and down weights and won world titles, from like light heavy back
Some
down to like,
resume is, hasn't he? Got some resume on him.
yeah, mate, yeah, Joe, he's always brilliant to watch, isn't he? I don't think he's ever been in a boring fight.
Yeah, he's one of my. Yeah, he's my one of my. He's in my top three favorites at the minute. He's one of my. Yeah. Oh
He
yeah,
might be
and
fighting
talk.
Chris Jr. We're going well off the topic here, aren't we? But
But yeah, moving back onto the fight, Jack Arnfield. He had a bit of a long layoff, but remember, he's actually beaten John Ryder back in 2016.
this is a good fight, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Jack's had a bit of a long layoff, to say the least. He fought in 2018 against Tommy Langford. I'm not sure what happened to Tommy, but I think I did watch that fight. His last fight was against the tough, durable Robbie Chapman. That was in the Blackpool Winter Gardens in May. That was May 11th, that one.
Well, this year.
Yeah, this year, 60-54. But before that fight, he hadn't fought since 2018 when he lost to Tommy Langford for the British title. That one was at middleweight. This fight's at super middle.
Yeah, that extra weight class makes a massive difference.
Yeah, I mean, some people think, when it's hard even going up from middle to super middle, people don't realise how tough it is actually to even sometimes move up one weight or even move down a weight.
No, I know. I know that's a good fight. That is. That's going to be an interesting one. I
I
wouldn't.
think I think people, they'll look at it thinking, oh, this is Zach Parker all day. But if you've, no offense to Zach, on his early part of his career, I was quite impressed the way he was beating people quite easily, convincingly, decent European level, not level, but decent overseas fighters who will have positive records. I really used to rate Parker, but in his last three, his four, five fights, not so much. No, no offense to him, but I
Yeah,
think I don't like saying people were overrated because that's rude, but I've not been overly impressed, but some of his fights, I was impressed when he was knocking people out, and I hope for him that he gets back going, and I think he can I think he can box well as well. He's not all about, you don't need to keep knocking people out. And I think sometimes he does just go looking for that knockout. But sometimes, use your boxing, because on his day he boxes quite well. Sometimes it's not the most entertaining fight to watch, but the main thing is, as a fighter, that you get the
it's
job done,
getting the win.
isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough fight to call. I wouldn't like to put a prediction on that, to be honest, mate. I think that's a bit of a tough one to call, and I think it could very easily go either way.
Yeah, I think, Jack Armfield, he'll realise, he's got a brilliant opportunity. He's been out for ages. He's 26-3. So they've had sort of, I mean, Zach's had 25 fights, Tommy's had 29 fights. So I mean, they're been, had similar amount of fights.
Experience.
And
Yeah.
Jack will be well up for this. And, it's he sort of can take where Zach Parker's sort of aiming. I'm not sure what route, the winner will go down. I don't know what route, because Zach's saying he sort of wants that world. I'm not sure what route the winner here will take, but I think it might be a bit of a long way back for the person who doesn't win the fight. And that's just in my opinion. I'm sure they could come back if they really wanted to, but I think it is a bit of a long way back for them. But I think, Jack, I think he'll be dangerous early on. I think he'll realise that his last opponent had Zach quite hurt. But sometimes, when you get hurt by an opponent and you get dropped, you go back to the drawing board, you go back to the gym, and you keep, watching where you go wrong and improve, and work on where, you got dropped, sort of thing. But I think if Jack, I think I, I'm muddling my words up here. I said if Zach can weather Jack's early storm, I think Jack needs to throw the sink at him, because if
And
Zach
come
gets
out
in
strong
his,
in the second half.
yeah, I think if Jack can try and get him out there early, I think Zach can sort of take over in the later stage of the fight. Um, or, maybe I think they might potentially both sort of need a fast start, because Will Zach's confident, you know, because sometimes when you're down in a fight over halfway, you start panicking and sometimes you start rushing your work. So potentially they might start fast, but I think Zach slowly will grow into the fight and take this one on a decision. I'm going to say a unanimous decision for this one.
I'm not gonna call it because I think it can go either way, and I'm unsure. I'm unsure on which way it's gonna
Ah, you're
go.
sitting
But
on the fence, mate.
yeah, I am. I'm
We need to
sitting
get
on
you
the
off the
fence.
fence for these for the next few fights.
All right. Well, listen. There's two fights that I've got my certain predictions for, and that's the Kane and Lane fight, and obviously Brad Pauls and Nathan Heaney.
Good
You
man.
know, I'm very certain on them two. What I think is gonna be the case.
Well, we've got three. We'll predict two more fights, and then we'll predict Lane. Then we'll go Cameron. Then we'll go Heaney Pauls. Right. So we've got
So,
Ezra Taylor 8-0 v Carlos Alberto Lamela, who's 8-3. This is for the WBC International Light Heavyweight title, which is vacant. I believe Willie Hutchinson actually had that. But yeah, that's vacant. Not sure if it's for Ezra Taylor's Commonwealth Silver as well, because they don't seem to put the Commonwealth Silver on BoxRec. And in my opinion, you should put every belt on BoxRec, whether it's
yeah,
slightly a lower ranked belt, but you still put all the belts on BoxRec. That's just my opinion, but yeah, I mean, he won his Commonwealth silver against Prince Okonati. That was on again. Yeah, I mean the Brad Pauls Heaney first fight. So a few of these fighters have appeared on their last card. So similar sort of.
I think Taylor's gonna win that.
Yeah, I think that as well, mate. I've been very impressed with Ezra Taylor. He's knocking everyone out. He had a bit of a struggle against Khalid Danilo, who's very tough. But, you all have bad nights, and he still, got off the canvas and still won that fight. Sometimes you have an off night when you get put down, and you wake up and you come back stronger. He's had two knockout wins in his last fight. One being when he boxed at Wembley Arena on the Joyce Zhang 2 card, and he stopped Joel McIntyre in the very last round with 1 second to go. So, I mean, quite impressive getting a stoppage with 1 second to go in a fight. Not many fighters can say that, to say the least. And he won a Commonwealth silver belt, and, you've won one title, you can be hungry to win the next belt, and whether he's defending it, I'm not sure. But I think I've been impressed with Ezra Taylor, and he's, you see him calling out Ben Whitaker and people. I think there's big fights out there for Ezra Taylor in the future. But when people sometimes look past the fighter, what happens. Sometimes when contracts get signed and then it slips up. You've got to always focus on the man who you're fighting, even if it's a journeyman, because you can't afford no slip ups in any fights. Yeah. And you've got this Carlos Alberto Lamela guy. If I'm honest, I have not seen him box, but he's 8 wins with 3 defeats, with 5 wins by KO. And he's boxed in his last fight. He boxed some guy who was 18-0, and he knocked him out in the final round in the 12th. That was for the EBU silver. I mean, I swear, loads of belts get. There's new. I hear of new belts most days, but nowadays, but yeah. I've been impressed with Ezra. This is a 10-round fight, and I can see Ezra, getting this guy out there quite early. I'm gonna say round two.
Oh,
I'm gonna say nice and
oh,
early. I'm gonna
oh.
say Ezra Taylor round two,
I'm gonna go for round 5.
round five. Nice one. So yeah, yeah. So round five. A fight that really excites me on the card is Owen Cooper 10-0 v Echo the Engine Essuman, who's 19-1. This is for the WBO European welterweight title. I believe Owen Cooper's vacated the English because I believe Sean Noakes is boxing in Debassi for it
Yeah,
next weekend on the
yeah,
Joyce
that's it. On
card.
the Chisora and Joyce card. Yeah,
That'd
that's
be a good
correct.
fight.
That is a good fight. I like Ndabasi. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Owen Cooper, 10-0. Again, I mean, yeah, bit of a
I
shock,
think
but he
I'm going for Owen Cooper, mate.
really,
Yeah, mate. Hungry lad. Hungry for it.
and yeah, I mean, he didn't even, yeah. He beat Ethan James on the Brad Paul's undercard again. They're all getting on the same card, which is quite impressive. But yeah, we beat Ethan James, and I hold my hands up. I writ him off that night, and I just thought Ethan would be a bit too sharp, a bit too quick on his bit too quick on his feet for Owen. I knew it'd be tough, but I just thought Ethan would have enough in the tank to beat him. But he just blew that prediction out the water and really just stuck it on James from the get-go and didn't let James get in his rhythm, put him down in the first round, and he dropped him heavy as well. And it was a sort of a beatdown, really, to be fair. It was Owen Cooper's best performance to date, and I was really, it was a great performance from him. And James's corner pulled him out at the end of round 9 to live to fight another day, and I agreed with that. And I think that's Owen Cooper's best win. And I think that his style with Echoes is just gonna gel nice. That he's just gonna gel so well, in my opinion. Because Echo's another one who just doesn't stop. It's in his nickname, the engine. He just doesn't stop coming forward. And that will be with Owen as well. Owen just won't stop coming forward. I think this makes, I mean, I'll say it for pretty much, Andrew Lane and Brad's fight. It makes for another one that's a potential fight of the night. Echo, he's beaten some Chris Jenkins, Danny Ball, Darren Tetley, Antwi, Chris Congo. And, he's had that one defeat at the moment to Harry Scarf. And that was on the Nathan Heaney Bentley card, that one. But yeah, I think makes for a great fight. It's 10 rounds. Echo's a former British and Commonwealth champion. He's boxed at Wembley before. I think I can't see it. I mean, it potentially could go the distance because they both got great chins on them and they can take a bit of punishment. And it could be, it could make for a 10-round war. But I think Echo will win this fight. Eventually, I think he'll catch him with a body shot. because he's a good body puncher, is Essuman. But don't get me wrong, I won't be surprised. But I think Echo um, needs to get better winning ways in this one, and I can see Echo taking him out maybe round. I'm going to say round 8 for Echo Essuman. And you're saying Cooper? Are you saying Cooper?
I'm gonna go
Stoppage.
Owen Cooper. Owen Cooper points. Points.
So you were going to say
I'm saying
would you
Cooper
say
on
it's
points.
would you say it's going to be a 10-round war? Would you
I think
think?
it's going to be I think that's exactly what it's going to be. I think it's going to be a 10 round war. But I just think Cooper's going to want it more, and I just think he's going to. I think he's going to do enough. I don't think it's going to be wide. I don't think it's going to be wide. But I think Cooper's going to do enough just to nick it.
Fair
I
enough.
think I think he's going to surprise some people, mate. I think he's going to surprise a few people.
I mean, he shocked people with his last performance against Ethan, so you know. And
He
yeah,
knows what he's up against, so he knows what he's up against, and I think he's gonna, like I say, I think he's gonna surprise some people.
yeah. Before we get into the Cameron fight, we'll talk about Ash Lane v Andrew Kane. Ash, of course, 18-10 and 2. Kane 11-1, of course. And it's for the British and Commonwealth bantamweight titles, which Ash Lane currently holds. Of course, he's done it the hard way, hasn't he? He's had those defeats. He's come back, and he sort of revived his career against Jordan on that top tier
Yeah,
show. I was at that fight, and
yeah, I was there as well,
I
actually.
wish you.
Yeah, yeah, I was ringside with my partner. I was there supporting Jordan.
Yeah, yeah. I was there as well. I thought Jordan started quite well in the opening two, and then I just thought, Ash caught him with that looping shot, didn't he, that caught Perkis cold,
Oh
and
yeah, and he went down like 3 times, didn't he, in one
he
round?
in that third round, and for
But then
Jordan,
I thought Jordan pulled it back. I mean, I'm probably going to be quite biased towards Jordan because he's a good
I
friend of mine, but I
yeah, I
think he
like
pulled it
Jordan.
back.
I like both of them, but I think it was a good fight, and I think Jordan showed a lot of heart, to get through that third round.
Yeah, mate.
And it was a big win for Ash. I thought it was close, but I thought, that was a match. I've had Lane ahead because it's a 10-6 round, wasn't it? Because he dropped him 3 times.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
that that does a lot, doesn't it, on the card?
Yeah, mate, and I'll be honest with you, I thought that was going to be over after that. I didn't think Jordan was going to see
I'm
it through
not.
the round.
I could. I mean, I'm surprised. Jordan got up from the first knockdown because that was heavy.
Yeah, it was heavy. His legs went and everything, mate. It was horrible for me to see because obviously, like I say, Jordan was really, really is a really good friend of mine. I mean, really good friend. One of my best pals. But yeah, that was hard for me to see, And but going to the Lane and Kane fight, I actually thought after them talk, I actually really want Ashley Lane to win. I really want him to win, but I don't think he's going to.
I mean, he upset Jordan, and he said as well to me because I've interviewed him before. He fought Jordan and Bork, and the scary thing is that said it as well in my prediction I done on another channel. He does what he says. He said that he would get Jordan's corner to pull him out after round 7. That's what he did, and he said he'd stop Bork in 6 rounds, and that's what he did. And I mean, he does what he says. To be fair to him, and he's a good guy as well. And
He
Bork
is a lovely
again.
fella.
His bulk started just like Jordan. He was boxing smart and clever, but I think Ash, he closed that gap. And once Ash closed that gap on Chris, Chris couldn't keep him off him, and it was all Ash Lane. And
Yeah.
what winning the British and Commonwealth, that means a lot to these fighters. And Andrew Kane, he's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, but I think he did lose to Baluta, but don't get me wrong, Baluta, an absolute class operator, and he's fighting McCann next week, another one who's boxing next week. But I
Yeah.
mean, no shame in that. And plus, to be honest, let's be honest, he actually, I think he knocked Baluta down twice in that opening round as well with that fight.
And like you say, mate, Baluta's a really good fighter, And it's like, I mean, I mean, listen, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I really want to see Ashley Lane win. I really want to see him get the victory tomorrow on Saturday night. I just don't think he's going to. I just don't think he's going to do it. But I hope he does, and I really want him to. And if he does, I'll be really made up for him. But I just think Kane's a better boxer, mate.
The thing is with Kane, I think he gasses himself out too quickly. I really do. I thought he put a lot into that in the opening three against Baluta because he thought he nearly had him out of there, and he gassed himself out in the opening 3 rounds. I think Kane will be dangerous for those opening three, and I think he'll really need to put it on Ash Lane and try and force that stoppage. And in a way, yeah, try and use it. And if I think Kane, try and be as patient as you can. You don't. Maybe he's learned since that Baluta fight not to
He
sort
won't.
of
He
gas
won't
himself,
stop. He won't stop Lane.
not to gas himself out. But I can just see him making that mistake again, trying to blow him out of their early doors. But I don't think it will. I think Ash will hold in there. And I think Ash sometimes he does start slow and he does take a few rounds to get going. But once he gets going, I'm telling you, he started out a bit trying to sort of box fighters in the early stage of his career. But recently he's beginning to find that power in his last 2 fights that we've seen against Jordan and Chris. And they're 2 massive wins for Ash. And I can see him keeping going on his momentum, and I can see him getting him out in round 6.
Yeah,
I really hope he does it as well.
I hope he does. I hope he does. But I just can't see it. Sam, we're gonna need to wrap this up because we're gonna go on to Brad Pauls and Heaney because I've my dinner's being dished up.
Oh, sorry, mate. Right, we'll do that now. So I'm just gonna say shout out Cameron on points for her fight. Yeah. So Brad Paul's Heaney. It's the rematch. It's the big rematch for the British middleweight title and WBA Continental, which Ellis Stewart told me yesterday. Yes. The rematch. I just think first fight it was close. It was not a robbery. I really thought Brad nearly had him out of there in that 8th round. And I can see, I think it would go similar to their sort of fight. I think Heaney will box well, but I can see Brad catching him and unloading those bombs like he did last time. And he nearly, and I believe Heaney should have had a point off with the gum shield. And I think the refs split them up quite early. I really see Brad putting it on him this time. And I think
Yeah,
this time round, Brad Pauls will do it, and I think he'll make history for Cornwall being the first British champion for over I think it's since 1937, I think it is, or something. And I can see Brad Pauls getting the I'm not it's not going to be a knockout, but I'll say TKO win in round number 8, well 7 or 8, but I'm leaning slightly towards 8 like I did last time.
you got exactly the same as me, mate. I think it's gonna be a 7 or 8 stoppage, mate. I really do. Brad's hungry for it. I think um I'm a big fan of Brad Pauls. I think he's a lovely lad, and I think he trains very hard, and I think he's a very good boxer, and the power that he's got is like, I mean, I shared a thing on my story earlier when they're with Heaney and Brad, and they're both talking up, they're getting answered one word answer questions,
I saw that,
and
yeah.
and even Heaney said his answer about Brad was strong, and I think that Brad's gonna be. I think Brad's gonna come. He's gonna bring it on Saturday night, mate. And I think he's gonna make justice for the last fight. And I generally think he's gonna get the stoppage, mate.
Well, and the new indeed, mate. Fingers crossed for Brad.
Yeah, mate. 100%. 100%.
And yes, from me as always, Josh. Thank you for your time, and yeah, it's going to be a good card on Saturday.
Yes, mate. I'll drop you a few messages on Instagram while the card's on, and we'll go back over our predictions and see where we was at with them.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, then.
Bye, mate.
Cheers, Sam. Tell them, mate.